at how Ninetails played in their own region of Korea, they were 11-0. It's a very good map for them, but I can only assume that their opponents have expected them to keep everything the same, which they have, and then built a composition specifically to be able to beat that. So I'm favoring Xipto. They've got a very good record versus this specific squad as well and playing in Pacific. Obviously, the one factor that really changes here today is that Korean crowd, which is heavily on one side's favor. Surprise, surprise, the Koreans. But we'll have to see if they can beat a squad they've struggled against, and that's not the start they were looking for.
Immediate shutdown. Graves going back in for more, another bite, but down to 3 HP. There's time to fall back at least. Ninetails not able to punish. They've taken a few blows of their own, and that side angle from Graves gets another. Mighty not spotted on the backside until just now. With the chance to make this really costly, she can just stay alive as the teammates come flooding back in, and the right clicks land across the board. Xipto, 1-0 to start this out, and as you can see on the top of your screens, the stakes are pretty high here today. We're in the elimination phase of the tournament. Whichever team loses here, today will haunt their what-ifs.
Yeah, it's a rough spot to be in, I think, especially for Ninetails, where you come in against a team that you've taken a singular map off. That map was instantly banned out in the veto as well, so that's definitely not going to help them moving forward. And then the map that you're choosing, the next in the series, is one you struggled on earlier in the tournament. So everything points that this should be a Xipto victory, but we'll have to see if they can turn things around. That pistol, well, I think Grams did. I think it was well over 100 damage just on the first shot. It was a collat that ended up connecting onto a second player. This round, definitely some weaknesses, a couple of pistols, but I see that Outlaw and I automatically think, like, well, against these unarmored players, it's going to be easy pickings. Yeah,
of course, the Outlaw started towards B long, though, and you can see that Ninetails have already taken a lot of space. Now, with Xipto pushing up on B long, seeing nothing, pushing up on A long, seeing nothing, and having no presence in mid, this is something that they're well aware of. And of course, with the Prowler coming through Art, that only confirms this is where the play is coming through. So I like the idea to just give up the site. It could even end up with a plant going the other direction, but better off not giving them those individual fights and then launching into those retakes together. Really nicely done to start this out. The question of damage doesn't seem to have too much on the other side, with only one player falling.
Yeah, nice stuff. Like I think, especially as you said, like not giving in to the maybe the greed of just like, I want to get myself some extra eco kills. But I do think as well it's good to see Yuumi get off to a good start. I had I want to say a pretty horrific debut here at GCC. It didn't go well in her initial battle, but definitely someone that I think in this matchup in particular has had an absolute field day. Same can be said for Dana on the other side, though. Obviously, as has been mentioned many a time, the youngest player in the tournament, coming in at 16 years of age, has the confidence of someone who's been playing a lot longer. And if you want to watch some highlight reels, give her a shout out. She's been making them for 4 years on her YouTube channel. So definitely someone who's been playing the game since day one while being a youngster.
Yeah, quite a catalog to catch up on in the off season, I suppose.
Yeah, there's a few videos.
A few hours of footage. Well, for Ninetails, big investment. Rifles come out. Guardian on 3-3-2 or Sammy. Xipto go for aggression down on mid. 4 players pushing up. We've seen this a couple times. We saw it in the last round where they're willing to give up map control. This time it's towards the B site, leaving Vito's little trap there to section off that info. Ever knows there's a player close, but the second will catch them off guard. Maybe does well. At least find one, but sliding in after being seized, that is a risky play and no reward this time. Advantage to Xipto.
She's confident. You can't deny the confidence, but that's madness, yeah.
With the spike, too.
Yeah, one health after being... I'm guessing she just didn't notice that she'd been seized. Otherwise, that is mental, but yeah.
The timing, yeah. Already initiated the slide, and that was...
So going back now. The good thing is, her opponents have given up the spike. I'm a little bit surprised by that, just because of some of the weaker weaponry, but I guess when you have the Bulldog and the Outlaw, you're kind of sat there going, I don't want to be up close. And now they've been able to completely reposition, and they're basically just playing for rotations. The fact is, though, Graham's in a great spot to try and just deny them. Look at the swing together, but even still, 3-3-2 has found one. The problem is 25 health, 2 to find. I think realizing in the retake she stands no chance. It turns out she had no chance either way. Graham's with another onto the board, weaponry upgrades, and a 3-0 start for Xipto.
It's definitely an unusual angle to see the Outlaw in, right? Holding that door from so close, but it works really well, whether by design or by coincidence. The two shots coming out of the Outlaw, a lot of the time teams are going to think, oh, okay, they got to reload. Let's push it. Let's run it down on that Outlaw, take him down. And there's actually 3 players there, so you see the other 2 immediately swing in, although they did end up losing the initial fight. The trades come in thick and fast. With Xipto on a 3-0 start, that pressure's going to mount on the other side, but the reality is, this is Xipto's map pick, but it is also somewhere we expect Ninetails to do well. Early fight goes to Xipto, and they're going to keep scrapping for this control over main. That's going into Ninetails' favor. They've got the numbers, and they're overwhelming them.
He's still here. Maybe not expecting another player, but even still, Haste, quick at her toes, is going to be able to trade that out. It's left all onto Graham, seemingly wanting to get as many ghost kills as possible. Another added to the tally. And she has been off to a flyer of a start. Almost just playing the bait, I like it. Using the steps of the fake out to mask her actual move. You could see they are patiently waiting for someone to try and swing, someone to try and give something away. Instead, Graham's was just waiting for the tap. Will now have to play that retake in the end.
Fake teleport.
Blocking vision.
Time, plenty of it on the clock for Graham's to clear all these angles, but the problem is, you know, as you move forward to clear out pit, the space that you've spotted before behind you is now open. There's no safe haven to play from, and with so many angles that these remaining players could be hiding on, trying to pull them out into the fight is the only option. The grab well avoids that, though. An idea from Graham's of those positions aren't long, but the shots, they do not land. Ninetails find themselves there first with a MasterCard Thrifty, and I like the adjustment to go as 5, push down one part of the map. We saw it on an eco as well, but I think a good read on the fact that Xipto have been playing aggressive, sometimes B and A long, or sometimes picking a spot on the map to push down.
The thing with this one, that it kind of was the opposite to everything else we'd seen from Xipto so far. They'd always been like playing the fights together, like maybe giving up a position and then grouping up. This one was much more 1v1, like someone trying to bring back the round after a domino effect. So it was great work from Ninetails, but I do think at the same time some overcommitment from the other side.
Well, that won't happen this time, as immediately they'll be backing off with the reveal on A, sending Xipto back towards the site itself, but the push coming out on mid instead. Again, this is something that we're seeing from Xipto every single round. They get aggressive, and Ninetails seem to have a read on that, leaving players to lurk outside of B and mid while this pressure's made on main, and now Xipto push down on main, but of course Ninetails are waiting again, playing into their hands. The read is perfect for Ninetails. Every shot seems to land. Graham's alone with an op in hand. A very tough clutch to make happen. First will be found, though. The chance to pick up a rifle instead of that op.
Cutting through.
Just to get that weapon. Graham's believes that she has a chance.
Maybe it'll be genius, but we'll have to wait and see. Back the other way, and well, a millimeter away from putting this into a 1v1. The problem now is going to be the amount of time on the clock. I feel like she just accidentally alt-tabbed. Because it just froze on the spot in the middle of the clutch. But hey, she decided to get the operator and go out of there. Done a little bit of extra damage, but I don't know, trading out the dimensional drift for what is an extra kill, I don't know if that's worth it.
Yeah, it's not worth it for an extra kill, but look at the potential. I mean, there was a shot that whizzed right past Haste's head, and then the op in the 1 versus 1, but Graham's needs to run, needs to flee. That op is valuable in the next round, but luckily, Haste isn't going to go swinging. 5 HP, and that op is carried forward, but for Ninetails, again, you got to give them credit that they're doing exactly what they need to do here, reading how Xipto want to play these early rounds and shutting down that disrespect.
Yeah. I wonder if we... Wow, they're going to have to...
Hey,
They're going to have to sort of continue the aggression in this round just because of the purchase that they have, but I do wonder if that's going to be a turning point in the match when Xipto maybe slow down just a little bit. I am looking, though, at Yuumi with the overdrive in hand. This time, no contention found outside of A. So they've been given that spot for free. The problem is it's kind of an all eggs in one basket scenario. You've got a couple of players here, but not a whole lot to really play with. And then the operator trying to hold down that mid-cross. Still with this aggressive position, though. There's a chance.
Go, go. My ult's ready.
Ninetails again. That
They
corner
know.
is going to be cleared as well. Although Piety does well to still find one in that position.
Leg.
Up shot hits the leg. Dana down to
You want to
30. How much more can be found from this spot? Now a lot. Capricious landing a big kill, going back to clear. Full Moon has got the knife out, but the shots don't land. Oh, it's a disaster. That's Full Moon shines bright. It's 3. It's a 3. Ninetails tie it up.
How she managed to survive that scenario. Being peeked by 3 players, and one of them ends up getting wallbanged as they tried to reload. And then the corrective shots were just fantastic. A linchpin in the round, because it looked like that could have easily fallen apart, but already seeing the climb back. 3-3. What was an early explosive start from Xipto, what seemed like could have been them just steamrolling through their map choice. It's now started to look a little bit more dangerous, as Ninetails have found their momentum, found some of that individual brilliance as well. But this is where things get very interesting, because of course the buy now for Xipto is not a great one, but we are still sitting there with an awful lot of ultimates coming into this round, and ones that could easily have high amounts of impact.
Yeah, it looks like their decision's going to be to take this on a low buy, and I think coming into the next buy round, that's really where they need to draw circles around their scars and sort of look at these early rounds. The fact that Ninetails are playing the defaults, baiting in that aggression, waiting for them in the buy rounds and catching them, that's not something I expect to see happening, at least in that same way. A main aggression's been constantly at least slowed with the bursts of utility from Ninetails, so I expect to see Xipto look elsewhere in the next. But in this one, stacking up the A site, hoping that someone comes walking in, but they've left that gap on mid, as we've seen before. Problem is, losing Graham's and not knowing that there's already players coming into their spawn. Capricious is not going to have a good time. Shut down by Samsami, and there's more of a fight brewing towards the spawn. Great flash, and well, they got there in the end.
Yeah, a little bit awkward for a moment. Unfortunately for Con, she couldn't be further away, and has also tripped the Vice wall. So Full Moon knows exactly where her opponent's going to be. It's not the prettiest fight, but it is a fantastic round. Flawless for Ninetails. That slow start feels like a thing of the past, and a lot of it is off that Vice play. 10-4 right now while lurking across the map. And considering that I think the first round they won was an all-in 5-player push-up, since then they've been able to keep doing that, but just, okay, Ninetails is now her own island somewhere else that they've got to deal with.
Yeah, very important as well for just containing those pushes. I think you also have to have haste covering that B-long angle, right? Because Ninetails have the Vice wall sitting for the A push, sitting to cover that flank. So if you're holding mid solo, you're going to be under a lot of pressure. It means there's only 3 to go towards A main, but with the utility coming in from Fade, they've been consistently able to push Xipto back. And this is what I said. I didn't want to see Xipto go for A main aggression. They haven't been able to do anything up against the utility of Ninetails. I wanted to see aggression elsewhere, and they've gone for a 3-player mid push, op holding B. A lot of control here.
Concealment.
But Ninetails, unless they are late sending a player through mid, like it's not like we've seen a massive shift from the entire team there a lot, although we did in the previous round when they walked through the door.
Here.
The problem is that the goal, I feel, was for Con to try and delay. There is no delay to be had. I think she was going to immediately try and grab well them, but once a player runs through, there really isn't much of an option for her to do that. It leaves an easy site take with only one defender, and while Grahams may know that there was a player on the other side of this wall, doing anything about it is going to be difficult. Maybe a chance to try and pre-fire 3-3-2. That could make things interesting. Leaves a little bit of an opener, but that time is ticking and still plenty of post-plant. And now with only one standing, Precious may just want to try and save the operator. Never mind, we'll go down to haste. 5-3 up now. They are running away with this.
A huge round from Haste. I think we see exactly the benefit of this style of play from Ninetails in playing that little bit slow. They had that player covering mid in the form of Full Moon and Haste covering B. They shift towards the A site. That wall is then tripped as the Neon goes running through. Yumi's easily picked off. Haste ends up getting another as those players that were coming through the top of mid, there were two of them. They get divided in two. And then the late play back around through A-Long. Again, like we've seen from Ninetails, the willingness to go towards mid as a team sometimes, but the majority, of the time it is this slow shift back around with a lurker around mid playing a super slow game, and it's working wonders for them. Xipto left without really a clue how this game has slipped away from them. Those early aggressive stances were working so well for them, but now they've been shut down across the board, and this just looks like an identity diff in favor of Ninetails for now, at least. 5 rounds in a row, but plenty more to be played for after this pause.
Yeah, it's definitely not a death sentence just yet. I'm also happy as well that we're actually, I think Xipto's coach struggled to get here for the first game that they played, but has now managed to show up as well. So maybe more of an opportunity when it comes to these post-pause rounds. Of course, we have seen in the past the potential for some decent attack sides on this map, so it's definitely not a death sentence if this half was to slip away from Xipto, but it definitely seems like they've kind of boxed themselves in, which is odd because you've got the Astra, you've got the Veto, like some strong defensive capabilities, but a lot of what they've been trying has been aggression, and I'll be honest, Ninetails have not struggled to deal with that at all.
No, not since round 4. Now with the AWP out, not the AWP, the Outlaw, but effectively up against light shields it could be, and there are plenty of light shields over in the camp of Xipto. They've got to be very careful not to go swinging wide into those angles, but eventually someone's got to get curious, someone's got to get info. Khan has it. 3 players, I think, she's just spotted walking down long. The spike's being retrieved. There's a shift towards the B side. It looks like, okay, there we go. Spike picked up, and actually they're going back the other direction. I was going to say it looks like they're going to send it fully. They're going to commit to the B site, and that could have been a mistake with the rotations already in. The thing for Xipto is they can always rotate back pretty quickly thanks to having that ult in play. That's a circle. It's a beautiful circle.
Oh, they're still getting information. That's the problem, though. Like the Prowlers are almost selling them a falsity on the Xipto side, and it's holding players into that side of the map. 30 seconds left. Now the game will be given away, and there is that quick rotation that you mentioned, a third player in towards this site, but Dana already taken a large amount of space, but also taking a bullet to the dome. Graham's rotation has already worked this magic. Full Moon, though, has just sprinted in, caught with utility in hand, but the trades from Eva are even better. Graham still trying to hold on to the back line, but Eva is just better.
10 seconds
Only
left.
Con remaining. Plenty of guns to find.
Planted.
But are any of them in a place that can be retrieved? There's one to her left, but getting to it would revolve around killing Eva. It's not pretty, but it's got the job done. Guardian retrieved, but it won't matter. 3-3-2. Comfortable to close. And what was probably the closest round we've seen in a while still goes the way of the Koreans.
Yeah, after the pause, nothing has changed except, I suppose, the margins by which defeat is tasted. Yeah, but that margin doesn't really show up on the scoreboard, doesn't show up in the second half. There's a couple rounds left to play for. And if this keeps up with an eco coming in from Xipto, we could see a dominant lead by the time we go to half number 2.
Yeah, I also...
God
okay.
damn.
I want to say as well, though, I feel like the economy management in this game from Xipto has been really weird.
Yep.
Like, I think there's been 4 or 5, like, sort of mix buy rounds. Like, it never really felt like they have a full purchase. Like, someone in that round was on a Guardian or a Sheriff. Like, that's happened too much on this defensive side for my liking. Maybe they'll get away with it. They've already found an opener. All right. Yumi's just decided that you doubt my pistol. And my pistol will prove a point. Speaking of proving a point, Full Moon. He's got a full house. 14 kills already.
And bailed them out of a bad situation earlier when it looked like Xipto were going to make it work in a low buy. It was Full Moon finding 3 kills that changed the course of that round. And it looks like she's done it again.
Again with
Graham's
the ult.
1v3. I mean, the ult was popped before it was a 1v3 at least. And with the chance to go long and get that weapon, it was worth it. But then everybody fell. And now Graham's all alone. left to try to make something of this round. They've got credits for the next, so saving it ain't the name of the game. Got to get in there, but playing through the smoke, already used the flash as well. They're not going to fall for that decoy after the jump through.
Yeah.
3 kills and a 7th round on the board for Ninetails. Xipto are really stalling out of this game. And keep in mind, as much as we said, this is a good match for Ninetails, yeah, Xipto came in picking it. I don't see why.
Yeah, I guess feeling confident in themselves. Obviously, we haven't seen it played within this patch or within the last few months by either of these teams. It wasn't in the pool. It would be weird if we had seen it. I do also think, like, I understand retrieving the weapon, but the ult that's twice being used on an eco round, and both times having no impact. Especially when you've been struggling on retakes in general. I maybe would have liked it kept to try and drag home one of these buy rounds. Already though, a very fast take in towards this B-side has been mostly A hits, and so a complete different change. And now Hex is perfectly positioned. Even expects the second. Wow, this is looking like a completely different Ninetails to the other day.
It's deja vu for Xipto, because this is the same spot Haste found a double from a couple rounds ago, and now they go running into her again. Capricious alone, and the knife's out! Luckily, she will be spared the taste of the blade, but the bullet does the job just the same. 8-3. Ninetails with an unbelievable streak, and it might not end before the second half. 1 round to play for. They will be leading at the half. The question is only by how much.
Yeah, I think after the first 3 rounds, I think many people would have expected a dominant streak of rounds, but not from Ninetails. It was looking like a scary game. And if anything, since then, it's looked like a walk in the park. Full Moon has definitely been the star of the show, but there's been plenty to write home about for Ninetails. And what is now another mixed bag buy for the side of Xipto, a Judge in the mix, a Sheriff once again. Let's see if they can maybe bring things back at least a little closer.
Watch out, gotta go.
Stun in the slide here, but up close there's a Judge to deal with. It doesn't matter.
Here we go.
Apparently it never does in this half, as Ever takes the double. And Xipto find themselves in a 5v3, at least one to be returned.
What is Con's crosshair? I've only just noticed that. That's oh, definitely interesting. Not one I've seen before. Oh, hey, yeah, as you said, it's done the damage nonetheless. In the meantime, the B site now under pressure. Here we go, completely blinded. And it does again. She's doing the work. Maybe it's the crosshair to use. Maybe I'm wrong. Graham's is there as well, and it still leaves 2 standing. The problem is, again, that weaponry not the best. Operator looked away at the wrong time, and the wraparound from Dana perfectly placed, but taking a lot of damage as she goes 3-3-2. Where are you going with that, Shorty? Expected someone a little closer. Graham's with 1 more. It comes down to the 1v1, but she walks out while reloading. Oh no! It's the 9th for Ninetails, and I feel like everything that could have gone wrong in this half for Xipto has.
Yeah, 9 rounds in a row after a dominant 3-0 start. Xipto have stalled out of half number 1. All that remains to be seen is if they can bounce back in the next half after the break.
Can I help you, sir?
Here's the bill from the dealership where I got my car, and I'd like you to beat it with a better deal on one of these fine cars.
Not how it works.
Guess you're not as cool as Verizon.
Bring in your AT&T or T-Mobile bill for a better deal today.
I can't breathe, stuck to my seat like glue. They're so obsessed with me.
Well, a big reason that that streak continued as we get into our Coinbase Econ report was Full Moon. I remember 2 rounds where it seemed like Xipto were getting right back on the horse, and it was Full Moon to send them flying right back off it.
Yeah, she was just a pain in the ass for using better words. She was just in the backline every single time, and with how aggressive this squad liked to be, it almost felt like they made it very easy for her to just catch them on the rotations. The same happened once or twice with Haste as well. I think just a good game plan from Ninetails, and especially with how Xipto started, I thought they had that under control. But it seemed like as the game went on, it fell further and further from the truth. Still though, seems like they're in good spirits heading into their attack side, especially with the composition they've got, that double duelist. There's always going to be potential. I'm yet to see that Xipto that we kind of expect to see, a team that has beaten Ninetails twice, once in a best of 5, once in a best of 3, and only lost a single map. This might be the second.
All the barriers up and the second half is underway. Ninetails had a lot of success in taking A main when it came to their attacking side, and now on the defense, it's going to be more of the same, allowing those rotations to be a little bit more freely used. You can already see there's a TP that's online towards that B site, and it's going to be taken. There's pressure already applied. Capricious finding the opening will send this entire defensive side, well, for a moment, scattered, moving towards the B site. But now they look to re-clear, fight towards middle, and if they're quick enough, they might even catch that rotation. The spike is on its way, but all of Xipto are here.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Haste has still been able to do incredible work, and the last are so desperately low. Only Graham's left once again, but with 8 HP, it would need to be impressive. It's not a bad start, but the last player, she doesn't know she's here. 3-3-2, and she was nodding before she took the kill. She knew exactly what she was about to do. 10-3, that might be the nail in the coffin for map 1.
It definitely feels like it, Tom. That pistol round had to go to Xipto, and they started off so well. They took down not just a player, they took down the player that's pulled this squad back into it in so many of the rounds. Our highlight coming out of that first half.
Just full on nodded.
Bye bye.
And even though they got rid of Full Moon, it was still Xipto left in the darkness. A 10-3 lead for Ninetails. The squad coming in almost everyone's mind as the underdogs. Shout out me and Jen. But
Well,
for
you don't
Xipto,
think they were underdogs?
me and Jen clearly didn't. We predicted them, so, you know.
You can predict an underdog.
Sure.
Okay.
But I didn't. I predicted
All right.
the clear favorite, Tom.
Right. Is that why you always predict Enzo? Anyway, we are going to have ourselves
My favorite.
the Sheriffs. Yeah, it doesn't win, though. And we'll see if we're going to get much damage done. I feel like Xipto almost need to make something of this round, invested a little bit more than you might normally see in a spot, especially when they didn't find themselves the plant.
Obscuring vision.
Diving into the site. Full Moon this time is available. It's okay. The kill came through. Just not for her, but Eva seems to have turned it. And eventually, Dana is there with the judge on her feet once again. 11-3. A dominant map. And while I feel like the timeout that's coming is just a last-ditch effort, I don't know what it's going to have to be said to turn this tide.
Yeah, I mean, as much as there's no point leaving that timeout until the game is over, right? It's going to be very difficult to give them the kind of guidance they need to get back into this game. The one thing I will say is now we're on the attack side, and where there was a consistent attempt from Xipto to play aggressive in the early stages of the defensive side, which even on this meta, you know, we talk about how difficult it is on the attack because you have these limited amount of bursts, especially when Ninetails were using their initiator utility right at the start of the round towards A. There's typically going to be this 50, 60 second gap from when that goes up to when they're setting up to actually execute into a site. And during that time, they were holding, they were waiting, and Xipto walked into them. I think that this is somewhere that it was a game plan issue, and then in a couple of rounds where they had the right ideas, where the pieces were falling into place, Ninetails had someone like Full Moon or like Haste who was playing in the spawn to flip the table completely and send their pieces scattering. So I do think there's more of a chance, all that to say this, for Xipto on the attack, because they get to play their pace at least. It's not like they're being disrupted the way that they were in that first half.
the buy as well is interesting. You can see the confidence that's currently in for Ninetails, as they're going to sort of over-invest into what is a bonus round. Like, they're just looking to close this out. And well, that's not a bad start. One of the players that will have no credits for the next round if they don't win it was Dana purchasing up this Outlaw, and she has already done that 140 hit onto Yuumi, the player you'd expect to be going in first.
Yeah, you'd expect her to go in first because sliding in, it's very hard to hit the head, but you don't need to hit the head now, do you? Just a single shot, a right click of a classic from the other side of the map will take you down.
Go, go,
Even
go.
a left click.
Yeah. Little RNG as well, you don't even need to aim. But yeah, it's somewhere now that they have to go back to a plan B, and it's going to be a contact up towards main, and they've actually found one. Ever dropped A site completely open as a result, and with the Vice wall covering off Art, they don't have any info. By now, those players could have shift walked out, and now they realize that there is presence elsewhere on the map, the B site. And it's a Yoru that could easily be a TP to rotate. This position from Sammy is perfect. She's walking up behind them. They have nothing to cover their back. The utility used towards the A site in the early round. For a moment, we saw Con checking, and Con goes back. Okay, Con's actually clearing it, but Sammy the one to win the fight. A flash and a decoy ready, and that's sending them into Full Moon, as they know they don't have control over Long anymore. A chance for Full Moon to swing in from the top rope, but back already open.
She's done well. Survived maybe a little bit longer than would have expected, and the chance for her teammate was big, but now Graham, I think, putting out that ultimate in a spot where it's necessary, can figure out where they are. Even still, oh, they've been isolated. An opportunity. It's left all onto Graham's once again. Had to reposition to try and get eyes onto the spike. First shot connected, and Tag desperately low. Is there time? It's close. I think just about, yeah, she's going to have this. In fact, it's not particularly close. It will be another round for Ninetails, and honestly, yeah, I'm starting to ask some questions as well. That felt like an easy close for Xipto, but they have let that slip.
It should have been. On the other hand, for Ninetails, really well played that while the Yoru's in ult, they say, okay, now's our time to strike. If we wait, it's a 3v2, but right now they don't have help, they don't have support, and Graham's, I feel like every time we've seen that ult popped, it's just a little underwhelming. Although he can't really pin it just on her. Those two players in Con shouldn't have lost that fight.
I don't mind where it was. Yeah, that was the thing. I think where it was popped, I was actually fine with it, but it just didn't go to plan this time.
Big stuns. They've slowed down this push in A main. They've heard the steps as well. Ninetails know what's coming, but it's a different story to try to deal with it.
Low player on the side as well. That will be a second found. A good start to a round that needs to be the start of 9 in a row. Again, we're going to see 3-3-2 put herself into a pocket that, oh, I was going to say wouldn't be expected, but it will now be expected. Con is just waiting for a singular move, and unless her spidey senses are tingling, they're all coming back. I can actually hear people moaning in the crowd. It's like, oh, why did she have to get spotted? Well, it's unfortunate, but already a fairly heavy deficit.
Well, Haste has done well. The thing is, like, with the way these rounds have gone, we haven't seen Xipto win since round 3. There's always a chance, but Graham seems to have finally connected the round that Xipto needed long ago. 12-4 from a 3-0 start. 12 rounds in a row. They call it timeout. Ninetails have called it timeout after winning 12 out of 13 rounds. That actually just feels disrespectful. Like, oh, you won. Take a minute. Celebrate. Yeah, good job.
The thing I want to know is,
that's nasty.
Is that the coach? Like, do we need to report the coach for toxicity? Because that, wow. I wonder what is going to be said. It does feel like proper instructions are being given. So, you know, I think maybe realizing that again they've lost to this team both times that they've played. They've only won a single map against them before, and they're taking this very seriously. Of course, elimination is on the line. Coach 972 with an opportunity to really pass on some wisdom here. How to not lose 8 rounds in a row.
I have to say, you know, there is the one side of me which it seems like the most likely that, yeah, this is a disrespectful pause. This is just, you know, sitting.
It didn't seem like he was just
But,
sat there giggling.
Yeah, the other thing, the other side of it, having seen, you know, the sort of body language there as well, is that genuinely, it's better to just crush them right here and now. It's better to not give them that.
The other
okay,
team.
we warmed
The other
up
team.
for Ninetails
He's not
to
been paid
crush
off.
Xipto, to get everything in line, to not give them a way back in, because when you start to feel like, you know what, we got there in the end, then that second map's a little bit easier mentally to fire up into mid-fight. And Yumi's done well to find two, but it's trades out. And on a round like this where Ninetails don't have a lot of cash, invested that is, that's all that you need, is to trade that out.
Info peek. I think might be actually with util in hand, and the cover wasn't there. Graham's now looks like she's gonna go down as well. 3-3-2, taking over. And only Con, the player to try and save them. First should be easy. Second player just around the corner though, and she'll get that as well with the spike in hand, but there's already been a rotation. A full read from 3-3-2. She is in prime position to end this map here and now. Started rotating immediately. The nod's out again into the smoke. Is she trying to get a knife kill? That's what it looked like. She's had to TP all the way to the other side of the map just to escape.
It's a word I don't think I've ever said, Tom. Certainly not unironically, but genuine aura play right there. To go for the knife to close the map after 12 rounds in a row after
I thought you were
calling
going to
the
say
timeout.
trolling, but
Yeah. You got an 8-round lead. I mean, why not? And look, here she comes. It's over. A 4K for Sam Sammy. An unbelievable display down on that stage. The squad
She's ulted instead of defusing, by the way.
comes in as the underdog.
You can't see this. She used her ult and just stood there for a bit, aura farmed, and then when it defused. This team is trolling in a game. They're winning 13-4 and are just trashing their opponents on the other side. We have just witnessed an absolute clinic from Ninetails. And I don't know if it's the crowd buff or just their opponents not being able to hold on, but that was super impressive. We'll see if Xipto have got anything when they come back after the break. Perfectly placed, but taking a lot of damage as she goes 3-3-2. Where are you going with that shorty? Expect. The weird thing is like, I think for Xipto, they come in as favorites. They come in as the team that have won the last two. They have their map choice, then a map that they've already beaten their opponents on. But it does seem like the mental game might be the biggest factor here. Like Ninetails with the crowd firmly on their side, big hero plays, huge dominant victory, and their opponent, while looking a bit mentally boomed, it's going to be difficult to reset that in such a short amount of time. As I said, it's good they've got their coach here now, but can that make the difference?
Oh no!
And it's capricious.
Don't start like this. It's not. It can't be a knife. Okay, it's the spray. At least the bullet takes them down. And an opening pick for Ninetails. And Sam Sammy will be caught on the way back though. Good trade, and it's leaving just one towards this B site. A lot of pressure now mounting on Full Moon, but Full Moon's been delivering almost every time. Great flash, great dive, still alive, but finally Full Moon falls.
Yeah, Graham's. Nice shot, but an immediate trade. Stun out, Ever under pressure and gone, and now it's left all on to Dana. A chance, the shot's almost managing to remove another. Both players tagged low.
One hit.
An opportunity, but it is baller from Graham's, just straight across. Finds the kill and an important triple to get them that pistol.
Phenomenal to see. And for Graham's as well, a 3-0 start in terms of the KD, a 1-0 start for Xipto, but we need to see a lot more because it was a 3-0 beginning to Pearl and then everything fell apart.
She was also there pretty much the whole map though. Like, even though a lot of the time I feel like she was in like 1vx scenarios, Graham's stats, if you go back to that last map, were decent. So I don't think she's going to be lacking any confidence. It's some of the other players that need to sort of step up alongside her.
I think that's something that was discussed on the desk, right? Bringing in Yumi on the waylay, having that double dive, it's very, very strong, and I think that's something that will play in Xipto's favor. That's a little bit late with the trap going down, so it will be destroyed. So no late round control over Bath unless you're putting players there, and Ninetails certainly are. Not quite the fight that they expected as Sammy takes a double. And Xipto, they're a player down with a big stack on this A side. If they decide to run into it, they've made the right call to just back off.
Full Moon. Now no longer on that Senti roll, which was so impactful in the last, but still up to the same mischief. Worryingly, Dana's managed to get herself a Bucky. This is one of the few places that's perfect, but the paranoia is good. Close angle, nice work from Emma. How has she managed to get two? She was low on HP already, and then the flank out from Full Moon. Well, it's not a 3-0 start this time. It's a MasterCard Thrifty in round number 2.
After the map they just had, this has got to be so crushing for Xipto. The double kill here was insane. Full Moon's timing on the flank, it was being watched the entire time, and I'm not joking. The second that they turned, around goes Full Moon. The wrap is in, and that's why they're so patient then in that bathroom fight later, knowing that there should be one, if not more, coming their way. MasterCard Thrifty, and a third round now that sets Ninetails up to really steal away this early half from Xipto. Yeah, you're not getting too close now, are you? Even with the stun hitting. Pulled back by the utility. The walkthrough, not going to find anyone on the other side. Nobody isolated on Ninetails as they just give up this space.
I guess you weren't expecting Dana to be up there. It looks a little silly, and wow! Okay, Dana! Crowd open for an ace. Well, I was going to say it doesn't look possible because of the position. They're not going for a knife.
They're giving it to her. No, they're giving her the ace.
Okay.
They're giving her the ace! That's a good teammate right there. You'll love to see it.
That's what we like to see from Dana. The 16-year-old gets the ace on the stage. A youngster with a huge amount of confidence already, and that's only going to send it flying. I'm almost just waiting for the reaction. There you go. We're looking at the coaches. I want to see Dana's reaction.
Maybe she was just a stone cold killer in that moment.
She was celebrating on the cam, I can see it.
Well, fourth round and a chance for Xipto to deal some damage. Trades are good to start it for the defensive side, who do come in with some weaknesses. The problem here for Xipto is when it comes to retakes, if that's where they end up, or a bit, I guess, too much of a telegraph play, the ulti online for Dana, which no surprise after the ace in the previous, have a lot of impact bridging the gap between any weaknesses and the rifles in play, but, well, there's no weaknesses anymore. The Outlaw's on the floor. Dana, though, ready and waiting. The ult will be popped. The timing is near perfect. Both players caught in the corner, but Khan was not stunned up. Xipto only have Ever to deal with, and those salvos will give the position away.
It's a reveal.
Spike planted.
That already being pulled in as well by Capricious Utility. A decent recovery from Xipto. A round on the board, but you also have to bear in mind that the economy of Ninetails over the last couple has been sent, well, flying. They have got so many credits to spare, so even though there were a couple of weaknesses, they do a lot of damage. And this needs to be more of a streak of rounds from Xipto rather than a one-and-done blip on the radar. In fact, they've got so many credits, we're going to see an operator immediately purchased up from Dana. At least they're still getting loud. That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
Yeah, you can't see that taper off too early. Look at this aggression from Dana. The Refract online needs to get around that corner soon, but a little too soon. In fact, it's Ever trading it out and keeping this even despite losing the big guns. They've got themselves a fair bit of control, and look at this from Sammy. The wrap up behind hasn't yet been fully spotted. The steps are heard, the plant will be coming through. This is very, very dangerous. You're going to see these players in spawn make noise. The dog sent through, the steps behind it. They know two players in spawn, and they're worried about bathroom, but for good reason. That player was Bath, but now pushed all the way up behind. The timing is insane. Graham's just checked short, and Sammy tucked in, now swinging in for the kill. The advantage for Ninetails just keeps on compounding. They even spotted Piety trying to sneak out of the smoke. Ninetails right back into the lead. And they're on their feet again. You know, we started the game out, they're hugging down on the stage during the fist bumps, and I'm thinking, oh, well, it's all going to be friendly smiles across the stage. They'll be clapping, cheering each other on, but no, it's just been a game of mental warfare.
She just go, like, crying.
Yep.
It's
Genuine mental warfare occurring.
That's toxic. Well, at least we're still giving it back. 3-2.
There are no
Lead.
friends on the server.
Lead taken. And this is what I was talking about with the economy. Only pistols in this round for Xipto. An attempt to do some damage. Some ults to play with, but other than the Nightfall ones that at times can be a little limiting in terms of the actual damage you can do with them. Heart Seekers is also going to be gathered up by a full moon. Clearly wants a little bit more.
Time to hunt.
The dog's going to get a lot of info. The stun doesn't quite land full moon safely around that corner. Probably a flash to go in. You know, it's a little risky. With Xipto having all these pistols, we're not going to see anything crazy. I'd imagine from Ninetails not pushing up like they have in a couple of these rounds so far. Say that, Sammy walks out of hookah. Not certain about that one, and that's a huge punish, especially when utility had just come. Like, you knew there was a player there. And on a pistol round where there's one, there's often more.
Oh, rifle retrieved.
Seeker's used.
Something extra to play with. Cosmic Divide going to be put into place as well. Nightfall also. They're throwing everything at this one, and Dana's managed to duck in between. They know there's one up above, and Yumi's done well. A quiet start to the game.
Hitting the brakes.
Her first kills. Oh, this is risky. Really wanting to play through, but that is an easy fight for Graham's. Yumi has truly woken up, and now Ever is all that remains. An attempt to fight versus 3, and the first 2 went her way. I thought for a second she was about to do something crazy. Instead, it's the MasterCard Thrifty coming through for Xipto. That was insane reactions from her.
That was incredible. I'm genuinely excited to see this replay, because even if we slow it down, it's going to look too fast. Really nicely done by Xipto, but this really... Oh! That really stole our eye. Well, 3-3, and it's a much-needed win for Xipto. We're tying it up early on, not letting Ninetails run away with this. Keep in mind, this is the half they decided to start on, and now we start to see why. Feeling a little bit more comfortable. Graham's on the early TP, catches the opening duel. In comes the convergence path. A player took to the corner, but unfortunately tries to use the utility and ends up paying with their life. A 2 versus 5,
slow, right?
and a really clean play from Xipto. Yeah, the convergence path had hit them.
Even getting out that utility or anything was going to be very, very difficult. It is a round done. One of the quicker as well. Like, Xipto have done well. I think Graham's on those entry has been fantastic in this map. And I think a good sign in the last round was the fact that I think in the first 5 rounds, Yumi was 0-5. 3K in the last. Obviously, the thing we're talking about is Ever because of how ridiculous that attempt was. But her waking up, even only having a Sheriff, it's a pretty big piece. Now, they're trying to save these guns. So for Con, an attempt to try and remove them. Dana not going to allow that to happen, and the others a little bit further away to really do any damage. Xipto will take the lead. After the streak of round from Ninetails, it was looking like a similar story to the last map, but they have stabilized.
Not too late either. Getting into that. And I think for Ninetails, at this stage, Xipto starting to heat up. 3 out of 4 rounds. I don't think we're far away from getting a pause out. Probably if this round goes the other way, that's where we will see them just take a breather. They're happy to roll into this, where they've got 2 sheriffs, 2 rifles.
I'll find you.
A Buffy as well, I suppose,
I have the spike.
warrants a mention. And this aggression from Dana. They did hear it, though. They heard the dashes going down, but probably assumed that the refract would be taken. Like, that's what has happened almost every time. But Dana, with one of the 2 rifles, is walking all the way through, and although seemed to catch Piety off guard, Oh. Cancelled out by the drone. Yeah, no TP, but luckily.
I don't know if I've ever seen that with the where you actually see the player go and then they're still in the same place. That must have been so confusing for Piety, but won't matter too much now. Haste. A little bit of an off angle might catch one by surprise. The Tiger.
Be right back.
Going to give at least a little bit of information. That can start the rotation, but it is start the rotation. And considering how far in Yumi already is, it's going to rely on full moon within the smoke.
They're not seeing anything, man. At this point, you have to think there's a sneaky play. Single player towards bathroom can't really be in, and that full moon, they're waiting for that push out of the smoke. Ever has to make another impressive spray transfers. They all come swinging, and there's nothing going the way of Ninetails. Xipto 5-3 up, and a much better start than what we saw on the previous map.
Yeah, they've started to build, and you can already see the Ninetails are now going to opt to sort of take a moment. I think it's understandable. There's been a couple of moments. I think that round you can understand the hero play attempted by Dana, but it was more the round with the Cosmic Divide where they're up against pistols. Like you saw the aggressive push on B, which gave a gun over, and then a couple of players really taking big risks around that Cosmic Divide rather than playing the retake. I think the confidence might have got to them a little bit too much, and I think the coach is going to try and rein that in a bit, because if you go back to the last time these two teams played against each other on this map, it was actually Xipto having a very dominant defensive side. So this is not the greatest sign. Of course, different comp, different meta. We can expect changes as we did in the last map, but realistically, you don't want to allow too many attack side rounds for Xipto.
Yeah, and realistically, we saw it on the previous map as well. Over on Pearl, that timeout from Ninetails, once they made mistakes, the coach was like, okay, no, we actually gotta solve this issue before it gets out of hand. At this stage, like you said, it's hard.
Same mistakes. It was a mistake. They lost one round, and they were winning 12-4.
There could have been multiple mistakes in that round. You know, losing a round is not a mistake in and of itself. But yeah, I think for Xipto, it's hard to estimate, right? As you're saying, we can expect a good defensive side from them because of the team itself, but different comp, different meta, completely unknown. Sort of how things are gonna play out. But I think for the most part, the assumption is that with these changes, the attackers have it worse in this meta. But then you add in that it's this double dive, and I think every map is going to be different. Bind, especially when there's so many, especially looking towards that A site. So many ways that you can use this waylay dash to steal information and map control away. I don't know how exactly it will play out. Great flash, great dash again, just clearing these corners. It's such a strong composition for contesting map control, and you can see that Ninetails have to give that up. They can't really fight for it. The best they can hope for is information when it comes to that utility barrage.
It seems like the B site is definitely the point of call. Full moon looking to be the one under pressure again, hit by a couple of pieces of utility and have been forced out of there. A reactive Cosmic Divide just to try and make that plant a little bit more awkward. And in fact, it's going to force a full rotation. 3-3-2 perfectly placed. This could be the moment for the judge to take over, but an important trade by Con. That will now allow them space, and actually the Cosmic Divide is going to help them out a little bit of getting into this site. Dana's taking a risk, and the risk pays off this time, but it's only for one. The spray is wild from Ever! From beauty to the beast, as it has gone completely wrong.
Yeah, that one they're going to want to forget real quick. I think for Xipto as well, you know, although the actual push itself towards the A side works wonderfully, it's Yumi who really rips this round apart, sticking around as the rotations are happening to find one from the elbow, and even ended up getting another one exiting elbow. So dismantling any chances of this squad getting back onto that site, making that retake happen, and then obviously the spray at the end didn't help. Korean's not that good, but I know that one.
The crowd did. The crowd definitely did. 6-3. It seems like Xipto found their way back. Ooh, just about escaping. Full moon also tucked around the corner.
Face your fear!
And even still, they are not taking any chances. Nightfall utilized just to make sure that if there was a stack up, it would be revealed. And they're actually looking to put the pressure onto 3-3-2, make sure that nothing else goes astray. This is a dominant looking round and a flank is coming, but question kind of is how much can this do? Maybe 1 for free onto Piety. There you go. That's something. Is there anything more?
From here, surely not. I mean, they're grouped up as well. You can see everybody on the backside. No one's out of position. You haven't got an isolated fight in hookah or anything like that. I don't think that went where it was supposed to go. And yeah, they're going to wrap back around, just try to make this costly, punish the exits, go down to the spike if necessary, as the ults are already online.
Player standing.
But I think it really is important to grab a couple of kills for Ninetails. Xipto running away with the economy. They're guaranteed now for the rest of the half. They're going to have
it's too
money.
far gone anyway.
Probably was actually at this point, yeah, with two left to play for. They're coming in, what, with 7K on everyone?
Yeah. Oh, 7-3. 5 in a row now for Xipto.
One enemy remaining.
It's also good to see Yumi's having a couple of big rounds, high impact kills, being embedded as well, and is the tip of the spear in terms of diving in. I mean, remember, you see Waylay a lot of the time here, Ninetails are avoiding those early fights, but if they do get spotted by that dash, you can immediately hit the stun, refract, and then someone else is following up. So it's very, very dangerous, exactly like that. But she even gets the kill before fading away. That's nasty.
Already. Just ultimate combo. Graham's, oh, actually take it down, in fact. 3-3-2 has evolved, taking over the round. Ultimates being counted across the board, and what started off so strong with this? Ooh, there we go. Capricious, even a little bit of body spam. Spike down on the ground though. It feels like it's going to have to be the clear. This is a little bit aggressive though from 3-3-2, a completely isolated fight that could have easily gone wrong, but doesn't get punished for it. There's plenty of time for Xipto to play with. The advantage firmly sits with Ninetails, but you feel like they need this round a lot more than their opponents do.
Enemy remaining. Last player standing.
After all the timing there on the swing, Khan didn't know where the last player was. Another on the board for Ninetails, just about, and that almost fell apart.
Yeah.
As Sammy or 3-3-2 didn't know that the angle was a little bit shallower that her teammate was holding, but this opening was ridiculous. You dive in, you spot the player, and normally that's where you think, okay, I'm going to throw my stun out, I'm going to refract backwards, and then my teammate's going to trade it out. And Yumi just goes, no, I'm going to do it myself, and takes the fight. Quick, clean, and easy. One left to play for. 7-5 still possible, but for Xipto, they're going to want to hammer home this victory. Off in hands. More games early on, and well, Yumi, same old trick, but almost gets punished.
Yeah, a lot of ults burnt up in the last round as well, so it does leave an advantage in that case to the defensive side. The B push has been where the majority of success is in this jiggle. Peak is going to get punished. The operator picked up specifically for this round. Dana with ult online is getting ready to use that convergence path, but I'll be honest, it seems a little bit early. There was nobody really challenged by that ult. Sure, it slowed them down, but with the advantage, I'm more interested in the position of 3-3-2. This is a spot that I definitely wasn't expecting to see a defender on, and maybe a chance to take out Piety completely if the spot is made, or maybe a little bit more. No, that's a fake rotate, but can keep the information. It seems like Piety now has the idea, has the read.
Oh, saw the ankle. The shoelace round the corner. That's unfortunate. Was on the site. Haste falls. You feel like this is Sammy's chance to really have that impact, but a known factor at this stage. Graham's will be watching it off in hand. Easy pickup. And Xipto, they seem to have done everything they need to not just lead at the halftime, but to have a decent margin to work with as well. Again, we have promise, or hope rather, of what that defensive side could be. This round, not yet done, but 1 HP in the difference. It's just moments away. 8-4 at the halftime. Xipto showing a much better face here on their opponent's map pick.
Yeah, you could see in the early rounds there was still some shakiness, still a player here or there that looked a little bit rough, but the 5-round streak seems to have brought them back into contention. We'll see if this is a return to form or if Ninetails can turn it after the break.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back, folks. This could be Xipto's final stand, but they're looking much, much better. Standing tall after half number one as we get into our Coinbase Econ report. And Yuumi really did draw our eye. That performance shift, and we talked a lot about the Waylay being picked up. It certainly has done her justice.
Yeah, I was a little bit nervous because we saw even in the opening match, she seemed to struggle quite a bit. Last map definitely wasn't there, but this is the Yuumi that we've sort of expected when we've seen playing in Pacific, so I think it's definitely a great sign. And the fact that Graham's has also kept up the same level of form and had a high amount of impact in a lot of those opening battles, this is a much better looking Xipto, and from insane confidence, it doesn't seem to have hurt them too much, still waving to their opponents while waiting for the half, but we will be getting back into things. Of course, a pistol for Ninetails here feels fairly important, otherwise Xipto might just be stealing their map choice as well.
Well, that's exactly it, Tom. For Ninetails, coming in here though, playing on the attack side, eyes on Dana. Let's see what she can do. Because we already had a solid performance from Yuumi, and that, although the Yoru flashes were a big part of how much space was able to be fought for, I think that Waylay, in terms of the dive in and getting out with the refract, you can see on this map, there's almost no position where that isn't beneficial, where it doesn't allow you to get into a nook or a cranny, and alongside some of the other utility, you can get yourself some decent control. Xipto looking for some of their own as they walk down on mid. There's two players here, and Haste, oh, actually catches the timing. Could have ended up with a kill, but it's Graham's to draw first blood, and then they flood around that corner. Numbers being thrown at Ninetails, and Xipto come out ahead in almost every engagement.
Yeah, the fact is, after pushing into mid and being spotted, it actually delayed that middle push and just meant that rather than the attackers surrounding the defenders were able to pincer down. Still an opportunity though for Haste. The first goes her way without too much trouble, but the paranoia is going to leave her with not a hope in hell. It is Xipto to extend their lead ever further, 9-4. I know those faces. It's in somewhere before.
Can't think of where. Yeah, that pistol round for Xipto here. This is where Ninetails would have been coming in, hoping to find it, but you know, the reality is, starting out this map, it feels like the shoe's on the other foot. Ninetails, they lose the pistol, they find early success in like a, 3-2 scoreline, and now they're sat 9-4, getting a taste of their own medicine. The Xipto very much seem to have found their form. Graham's again delivering that opening duel, this time with the Outlaw. It feels like gun game in those early fights. Although there's been no upgrade, just continues to find impact, and in this round, you'd expect nothing less. A shot to the body is more than enough. Now, we talked about the Stinger. It's
your
not
favorite
gotten
gun,
a lot
isn't
of
it?
love. It used to
You
be.
love the
It
Stinger.
certainly
You
used to
always
be
went
one of
on
my
about
top
the Stinger.
3. But nowadays,
All I want to say is
it's not good.
whoever nerfed it, thank you. So I don't have to listen to him go on about it all the time. It genuinely made me very happy that that gun sucks now.
Yeah, and that the Spectre's good. I mean, it felt like a targeted change, I'll be honest.
Honestly,
but
maybe I'm the dev. We'll never know. We'll never know.
you've been sending emails.
Who added that wall onto Ascent? Love them as well. That was
No,
brilliant.
listen now. Don't you
Hurting the
ever-
Odin players, wonderful.
It's on site.
Portal closed.
And speaking of on site, that's where Ninetails are trying to go, towards the A site. But again, that Outlaw is still just sat waiting for them to make a move.
30 seconds left.
They're eventually going to need to go. You don't want to hold on to your classics and your Bucky for the next. And the hope here is just that someone on Xipto gets aggressive, plays a silly game. And they're not going to look for silly prizes. Instead, they want some more orbs towards that dimensional drift. What's going on here?
Well, I think there's. I don't know if this was an
seconds
attempted ruse to try and get a plant, but it has not worked. Yeah, almost
One
needs
enemy
to
remaining.
die at this
Spike
point. But if
down,
anything,
B.
you might just want to leave Dana with a Bucky. Yeah, sure. Okay.
He's also hiding.
Yeah, she's going to hold on to the Bucky for the next round. That's an interesting one.
That could be a first for me. Okay, ideas. Why are you keeping the Bucky for the next? I mean, you could go down and buy the Bucky, but we don't want to give orbs to the Yoru. That makes sense. We're planning some sort of
Enemy remaining.
aggressive dive into
I think you're
Lance.
trying to rationalize something that can't be rationalized. I think that's just a mistake, and
silly.
it's a mistake that now means instead of having a rifle, it then has a Bucky. So you never know. Maybe she's about to Bucky ace, and all of us are going to look like idiots. And if that happens, I'll be very excited. Unfortunately, it now puts thereby not quite level with their opponents, but it's definitely not great. There's a Bucky on the other side. Maybe she's just trying to match up to the opponents. I'd be a little bit more worried, though, about that Outlaw. It has been fierce so far.
Well, you can see that Haste certainly was the second. The first shot of the Outlaw rings out. Haste is out of there. Running back over. What's this be signed? Nice shot by Full
So much
Moon,
damage.
but in the corner here, Bucky with a chance, and that chance faded very, very quickly. Graham's running for the hills. And even this flank that's coming through, you can see Yumi and Capricious are on their way, but there is a trap waiting for them.
There you go. Now the Bucky's good.
Yeah, this was, it was the game plan.
Well, the
from word
crazy
go.
thing is, I think Graham's had 2 players on like incredibly low HP, but Ever's now been healed up by Full Moon. Unfortunately, Full Moon can't actually heal herself, so that's not going to work out.
They've smoked it off.
A couple of players are on that flank, but I also feel like at this late in the round, you're going to have the expectation that they could have wrapped around some of these positions. You can even see they put a star down into this.
No,
But it's whether or not anybody else can get that little bit further there. Whoa, the realization just comes too late, and actually, Yumi's now managed to do so much
Last
damage.
player
The
standing.
problem is the time, but it's the cost that has been caused. That was 4 guns taken out of the last second, and well, even though Xipto didn't win the round, I think they'll be quite happy with that.
Because that's the thing, Tom. You say like, oh, well, they're going to think about the flank, right? Someone wrapping around.
They did put a star in there.
They were watching it. They were watching the people walking over to Fountain. So if no one's come Fountain and we've got a trap on short, then no one can be in hookah, right? Wrong. And now you get punished massively. That impact is insane, and it all comes off the back of a star. Just one little smoke placed by Capricious, and that changed the round completely from what was already going to be a decent success if you got a couple to a big blow to the economy of their opposition. Ninetails 10-5, and look at the buy. It is stinky.
Yeah,
They've got pistols.
They're almost playing this as a bonus themselves. They've got enough to buy into the next. Post plant here would be nice, though. That at least makes things a little bit more interesting. Just the sheer direct nature, and actually the Gravwell is too little too late. It's not going to do what was expected. What was around where it looked like there was little hope, now there is some.
The retake over Lamb's not going to be ideal. Instead, they look towards the site. A solid start with Full Moon down already. That flash removed. Nice shot by Ever. That's the weakest weapon in play. You still have the Bookie inside Lambs, but if the rest of them go down, what can the Bookie do in terms of denying that defuse? In fact, being stuck inside this smoke as well, even with the Sheriff, they're not doing anything to stop it. Hold on! That shot landed through the smoke, blind fire. Haste has to do the same though. And it will not happen, although the diffuser gets killed.
It does happen.
They'd
just
already
too late.
defused.
Oh, a nice attempt. I think there may have also been a Gravwell that missed in that, because I think I heard it, and it didn't actually pull a player off the spike. So I don't know if they were blocking in the middle of it, but it seemed like nobody challenged until much, much later into the moment. Well, yeah, there you go. You can see her getting moved, but not actually denied off the defuse. So that was why you didn't really see everybody running in and panicking, because they didn't think it was being defused at all. Nonetheless, what was invested, it's not too bad. But then you look at the scoreline, you look at how much more could have been. Look at Graham's. Just going walkabouts. It's a fake smoke. She is way past the line, but it's a whiff. She gets out, though. It's fine.
Yeah, safely towards A-Heaven. The push out of Bathroom from Xipto's gotten themselves an early trade-off. Thinning out the herd, though, of the defense more so. And then even double down on, but a second player in this position shouldn't be expected. And Piety's able to easily take this back to level ground. The op, though,
I've got your
no
trail.
info on where it is as the Seekers go out. A lot of them going towards that B site, but it's it's dragged the rotates. Xipto have given up A. And Ninetails, where's the spike going? Okay, it is going to the A site. They're going to have a free plant.
I think the worry, though, is because nothing has been spotted by Full Moon, they're starting to doubt themselves whether or not this has actually gone their way. In fact, it's a decent rotation already. Yuumi should have a freebie, but no, Dana is playing defense, holding that line and gets a second as well. The flank in, but Ever now watching. There were moments, but Ninetails make it out. A 6th round for them, still a long streak back needed, but it's a start.
It certainly is. I do like the positions here. You see when Ninetails go for the actual... that was a tough one.
Slightly moving, that's what that was.
But you see when they go for that, the retake, when Xipto are on their way back through and the plant is being attempted, Dana stands out at a different angle, hearing those rotations through spawn, knowing that that ultimate is online and not wanting to get hit by the convergence path. So yes, the plants are completely stunned up. No option to get anywhere close to a kill, but Dana's there. And that's what changes the round, what puts it in the pocket of Ninetails. Now we look for a little more on the attack, but the defensive side getting aggressive. Capricious is the one to open this up, but then it quickly crumbles. Obviously with those weak weapons, Xipto saving up for the next, but the streak that is needed now gets a little bit more manageable for Ninetails. They've got big ultis as well coming online for the buy round of Xipto.
Question is, can Con do any additional damage? Chance is incredibly low. They know exactly where she is already. Even knifing the edge of the smoke. 3-3-2. Having a little bit of fun with it. Of course, was spotted earlier by the chokehold and even being wrapped on from behind. It is something they maybe need to be a little bit more careful of. 2 players lost. Maybe having a bit too much fun.
Yeah, costly. A gap of 4 rounds. You know, I am curious to see because, again, the conversation we had earlier was about that defensive side for Xipto looking solid. And I think when you're running this Yoru with the Waylay, you have a lot of opportunities in terms of how you want to approach your defensive side, whether you want to get aggressive, whether you want to play reactive. But I do think that we're missing that flair from Pearl, where constantly Xipto were pushing down, they were taking control. It didn't work a lot of the time. I'd like to see it attempted here, especially now that we've got that double duelist, and it's exactly what they go for. They've gone right down through Bathroom, and they've ended up being flushed out of that position. A 5 versus 4 already as Nightfall goes in, up close. Piety inside the smoke isn't going to get too aggressive, but has players ready to dive into it, and if there's a smoke that's popped, or flash that's popped rather, there's going to be a big problem with Con already down. Xipto needs someone to step up, and that flash was perfect.
This now becomes incredibly unlikely. Capricious at least does well, but anything from here onwards seems incredibly unlikely. Full Moon has been spotted while the cover was there. I think hopeful that anything would be found. The streak continues for Ninetails, 8th on the board. Starting to see that momentum go, and that was the major factor with the streak in the last map and something their coach, or the Xipto coach, will desperately want to avoid. Pause called.
Yeah, I think the other thing about this is that we didn't really see massive ultimates being baited out, but the one that they used was enough. The fact that Samsami 332 or your veto player, your veto player for Ninetails can't then be hit by any of the utility that's coming through. It also allows you to, for example, pop a flash inside of smoke while they're running in. Doesn't matter if they get blind because they ain't gonna lose their vision. And so for Xipto, it's a difficult round, but then you have big ultis coming into the next buy round for this squad. Baiting them out here would be great, but the pressure is starting to mount as, again, the stakes of this matchup, there's no longer a lower bracket to fall back to. This is elimination. And for Xipto,
we need to go around.
They can feel it slipping.
I got that one. We need to make sure we go around sometimes, and then maybe left or right.
Gonna get coach out of you.
My sign language is actually fantastic. I can say 0 things. Nonetheless, 11-8. It's only going to be pistols once again, so another opportunity for Ninetails to close that gap ever further. 3 in a row already. Another 3 needed to even things up with a map already under their belt. This one was looking like it could have been a similar scoreline, but in the other direction. But that has very quickly changed.
Yeah, attack side has been very kind to Ninetails so far. 5-player grouped up, looking to push up against the Eco. I think this is the perfect adaptation, knowing that Xipto are likely to either play the numbers, look for those trades, or playing the default when you'll always have the numbers advantage for yourself. So an easy push through to the B site. They've used one of their ultimates, which for Xipto already is a decent trade-off. They have to do nothing for that. They've now taken down Dana. There's a potential weapon to be picked up. They'll have to fight for it, but it's ever there. Now they've lost Full Moon as well.
No.
Now Samsami goes down, and this round has crumbled for Ninetails. They need a hero play up against the Eco.
Only one has been retrieved, but already they're trying to use that Cosmic Divide, and it forces them in for the fight. Con with a couple of nasty shots to close out the round. And, well, I don't know what the coach of Xipto said, but I really want to know now, because that has pulled off a MasterCard Thrifty to take them to 12.
That's a shame. I think Ninetails did everything right to start this off, and then even throwing through the Armageddon to get them into elbow, it maybe feels like a little much. But then you have to think about what they were up against. They knew there was a Cosmic Divide in play, so the easy thing to do against an Eco is to play back on long, to take ranged fights, to use a little bit of utility to run that clock down. And instead, they go for this adaptation of, okay, we're going to play a little ahead of it. We're going to try to force some of those fights early, but what that ends up doing is just giving Xipto these, like, XV1 fights. The same thing that happened in Elbow, it happens on the site. Ninetails are not trading, and Xipto, they also weren't trading because they weren't dying, but you could see that there was always 2 players going for the swing.
I want to point out as well, I think that's the first time that Grams has used the Dimensional Drift in an Eco again, and it's actually paid off this time. So was able to get them a little bit of information around some of those closer angles, and I definitely think that helped them out on those initial site fights. Nonetheless, same opportunity on the other side. It is Ninetails now taking themselves a pause. They managed 3 in a row just moments ago. Now they need to go for 4. Of course, economy through the roof. And interestingly, you mentioned some of the aggressive pushes that Xipto were going for. Well, the attack side feel the need to pull in an operator to try and deny them.
I see for one of the first times, Yoru and Awele grouped up. Seems like it's just a high, medium, and low setup over on that A side. But it's B where the pressure's coming through. The thing is, it's all a bait. It's a ruse to try to get the aggression out. You can see that the trap is covering off that left side push if they do go down on mid. But then on that right side, you've got 2 players holding, waiting, the op, wanting to get an opening pick as they push down through Bath. Utility coming out over towards this B site confirms that there's still at least 1 sitting outside of B. And for Xipto right now, they've got no real actionable information in terms of where this play is coming through, but Ninetails don't really have direction just yet because their hope is that somebody can be caught off guard. And so far, that is far from the case.
Reveal has been shot. Spike's starting to go back. Now, I'm looking at the fact that Dana's the one with the ult on the other side. Here is that potential piece of aggression. That's a freebie, but the trade from Yumi! A 2-for-1 combo deal that might have just ended the map. Con now with another. It leaves Ever
30 seconds left.
with everything to try and do. A 1 versus 4, 25 seconds. And so much to try, but nothing will come through. It is Con to close. Xipto have done the same on their opponent's map choice. We are going to 3.
And rightfully so for Xipto. They didn't show up on map number 1, but now, offense with Vito, we're going to really get to see how much impact this agent has. They said on the desk, hasn't been a great win rate so far at this event, but you think about Split, so many choke points that you want to burst out of with utility, and Vito's great for stopping you.
Yeah, I think it can be good. I think off the top of my head, I'd look at Ninetails comp and say I prefer it, but just off the fact that I think that Viper is so good at sort of like controlling that mid position, and I feel like it's difficult to beat, especially on the defense, and also all the sort of space you can take elsewhere. But I'm interested to see what they've got. That's not a bad start. Gone already. An opening pick, and there are a lot of players waiting in heaven.
A big battle off the back of the Paranoia, but now one fired back in the other direction. Already damage coming in from Ninetails as they take a triple on Sam Semi. But look at the HP, Ever and Haste, so low.
They're going all the way back.
This Ghost could easily make them into Phantoms, but they're nowhere to be seen. They ran back towards this B site. The plant should be found, and Con should have a difficult retake. One thing just to note as well, I like already what we're seeing from Ninetails. That wall here in the pistol just to allow them to siphon into the A side if you're playing further back around screens, like playing the information game. Obviously, though, the one downside is they got caught early.
Oh, timing here is going to be everything. If she gets this right, it could be the backstab that wins the round, but gets it wrong, and it could be what loses them the round. The high HP player with an opportunity, and that's the opportunity, but fair enough, never mind. Count me wrong. Ever will win the fight on her own, and Haste, well, she was very far behind, but it didn't matter in the end. Ninetails, after what was an opening pick in their opponent's favor, have managed to convert that pistol off the back of 3-3-2.
Well, yeah, I mean, it really was. 3-3-2, Sam Sami in there with the triple to open things up that turned this into their favor. Look how much damage had been done, as we said. Left in that 1v2, yet still Xipto's player, Con, had more HP. And without a big performance like that, it would have went the other way. Pistol round, but we've seen the second rounds, I feel like, not even just in this matchup, but in this tournament, be a lot more difficult to convert than what, I suppose, historically is represented. We'll see if Xipto can throw a spanner in the works. They have gone for the Marshal, but that is on middle, along with the majority of the squad, leaving only one in the form of Con, and make that none.
Yeah, flank coming, but it's okay. I was going to say it's going to be met with a wall, but it's not. It's going to be met by 3-3-2 instead. Looking to try and farm up those orbs. Has not farmed up the orbs. In fact, has somewhat delivered a gun, but it's going to be Yumi sectioned off from the team. Eventually, they'll look to now group up together. That gun has been taken by Graham. Still utility. Nice shot from Full Moon, but it's going to be the trade back. It's getting a little bit dicey. Very costly at least, but eventually Dana is there on her feet once again. And sure, they'll lose a gun or two, but they've converted the round at least.
Yeah, and in the end, being able to carry forward the Vandal, the Bulldog as well, it's something. But yeah, I think Xipto can be very happy with the amount of damage that they got. And it very much does come down to that. You know, if that's one of the players with the pistol, fair enough. But going down there, there's no chance your teammate goes forward to get that rifle. I mean, they could have tried, but the player on the other side, I think it was Capricious coming from Ramp would take it down. Probably more so with how it ended after the bump in the road. For Ninetails, decently strong buy coming into this one. Still a fair bit of credits in the back pocket. Only Full Moon that has a real weak, well, actually Full Moon has a stronger weapon, I think, than Ever does. Oh, that's a nice dive by Dana. A nice spray by Ever. Even with the Stinger able to get that done on medium range. And Ninetails are in a 5v3.
The opener from Dana was good, but you could see there was an attempted recovery from Xipto, and that attempted recovery ended up toppling a second domino. Okay, well, TP, but I think that has almost definitely been noted. And yep, the haste has immediately gone in and just obliterated Piety on the other side. Con with a chance with Full Moon, just better. And now only one standing. A nice attempt! Oh, Yumi! That was impressive. Very impressive. But it doesn't matter. The round has still gone the other way. Can we get the coaches up again? I want to see if they're still as chill after that one.
Yeah, that was another, what seemed to be wide margin that comes down to a nail biter. I mean, the fact that Yumi, we highlighted this, you know, in the previous map that like, oh, Yumi looks so much more comfortable now. The Waylay really suiting her, especially in the first half. This is ridiculous, though. Nothing to do with the agent in play. That's all just aim as the Guardian fired off. But again, yeah, it amounts to next to nothing. The economy is fine for Ninetails. And more importantly, this is their chance to really build up an economic advantage. They're up against pistols, 4 of which are sheriffs. They've lost to that before. Xipto also have a big old rocket launcher in the back pocket thanks to Yumi making that big play. And that's, I suppose, where the impact could be found of that play in the previous round.
But they also love using their ultimates in a low buy round. Yeah. I think that's been a big characteristic of Xipto, which, I'll be honest, I've not been a massive fan of, because I don't think the success has really been there too often. But I can understand when the moment arises, they believe that they can turn them around. The problem is, 5 of them are on A, and 4 of the attackers are currently going towards B. So odds are this is not going to be their round.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to do it when you make that stack and they run into you. It's another thing entirely when it comes down to playing the retake. But again, you go towards the B site, you play out of heaven, you fire the showstopper, you can grab one, but in order for... No, you're not gonna pop the ult now, they're eco. There they are, my goodness. But the thing for Xipto is they want to pick or two, I'd imagine. I would be very surprised if they just come in leading with that showstopper, and if they do, there'll be an immediate response from Dana, I'd imagine.
I'm a little surprised.
My ult's ready.
Right, they've gone push it, and well, there you go. It's going to be a clean-up for Haste. I guess clearly wanting to make sure this is a cleaner round than some of the previous. They lost a few players in the late, so they were happy to commit that convergence path with the potential to maybe build up other ults in the process. Maybe that was the goal. I guess as well, if you expect, maybe the expectation there was they're all just going to die to the spike. And we want those orbs on an ult that maybe will have more impact. Maybe they want to get the Dimensional Drift online. Maybe they want to get the Steel Garden online. Don't know if the From the Shadows was the one I would have gone for, but hey, who knows? Maybe Haste has got a set play I've never seen before. They won't mind too much. They're 4-0, economy booming, and we're waiting to see if Xipto have any form of response or if we've gone right back to Pearl.
Who's next?
Well, the ult will be popped right off, ripped from Sam Sammy straight into heaven. From the shadows, the backside, and in amongst the chaos, Dana just takes a free pick, but they haven't spotted Piety. Unfortunately, nothing will come of it. Nothing beyond a sliver of health being removed from, I think it was Dana. Everyone else in a very healthy position. And a 5 versus 3 where, again, Xipto, they have an AWP, they have a showstopper that I can't see them investing because it would be both committed, essentially, if your AWP is diving in with a rocket launcher. And even if it finds a double kill, they're still on even footing. If they find a pick or two, it's different. And I see Full Moon going up towards heaven, but the timing is perfect. That's the AWP down, and they've given it up. That huge investment. The operator, the 2 rifles, while their players have put their credits down to flat balances, and they lose it for nothing. I'm not surprised there's a timeout from Xipto. 5-0 down, especially with a round like that, you've got to go back to the drawing board. This is tournament life on the line.
Yeah, they're getting blitzed as well. Like, it feels like some of it's a little bit whiffy, but a lot of it is just they are really struggling to deal with the combo on the other side. The sheer level of aggression that's coming through from Dana in 3-3-2, they have been phenomenal. Like, bear in mind, Dana's been diving in first every single round. She's died once. Like, that shouldn't be happening. Like, she can get out of there, but she hasn't been. Like, that's the damning factor. She's been taking the space, she's been keeping the space, and she's normally been finding frags on the other side. Coach, again, hopefully some wise words to be had, but once more, the economy's not really going to hold up for Xipto, and as we've seen, once Ninetails seem to get that momentum in their favor, that confidence, they have been nigh on unstoppable. Sure, they don't have too many ults to play with. That's probably where the major advantage could come into this round for Xipto, with 3 ults, 1 away, and 2 ults already online, including that showstopper. But it is finding the situation to use them. And when they've lost the opening kill, seemingly every time, I think maybe bar 1, it doesn't really matter that much.
Ninetails coming in with the double dive. Seems to have worked wonders for them at the moment. There was big commitments from them in the previous round in terms of ultimates, but the reality is, for their opponents, being now left onto Sheriffs, that was the perfect time to use them. A big swing round that hasn't swung anything in Xipto's favor. Dana already in. Player up top, though. Could have a freebie. Capricious in with a chance. It's Khan to find it down below. They don't know about Capricious either. Flying under the radar. Up high is Khan and Capricious combined deliver what could be Xipto's first round on such a weak investment. That's a huge catch by Haste, but more is needed. And on 40 HP, even the Sheriff is deadly. The body shot needed, but the head connected by Capricious gives a MasterCard thrifty to Xipto.
He might be the greatest coach of all time. Like, I'm genuinely starting to believe. That's the second time that we've seen that in 2 maps where the coach of Xipto, Sia, has taken a pause and then they've won an eco round. Like, that genuinely is nuts. And well, I think a lot of it is Capricious alongside Con being able to do magnificent work with what is a light buy. The fact is, though, this needs to be the start of something. The last time we saw them play this map, it was a strong defensive half. The strong defensive half has probably gone, and Dana definitely not afraid. Goes for the early fight. Both come out standing, and this time Graham's peak has worked.
Cover going out.
Yeah, strong B main fight for Xipto. Good containment of the space that was being challenged for up in A heaven as well for Ninetails. All of their early posturing's gotten them nothing. They're effectively back on square one. You could see that they attempted even some deeper mid control, but now the call is just a reset. Group is for push to the side. If they can get in, it's huge. They have a Viper's Pit to lock it down afterwards, and although there's a lot that Xipto can put in response, with 4 ultis online, that pit is still going to be a real headache to deal with. But getting there is a different story. There's 3 players in position here. Xipto have made the right read, right time, right place. With Full Moon on 13 HP, oh, even the showstopper is going to be put in. That'll certainly swing the round into their hands. I mean, Sammy would need a godlike performance, and it won't be happening today. 5-2 for Xipto, and they do that, saving most of their ults. I mean, I don't even mind the showstopper going through.
I think
just
they used Evolution as well.
Oh, they did? Oh.
Yeah, that was thrown in. That was the one that perplexed me a little bit. it was towards the end of the round, but I guess, again, just wanting to make sure that conversion comes through.
Negation ready. Trap set.
Either way, second round, credits still pretty good for Ninetails. Sure, they'll be 3-3-2 struggling a little bit in terms of the finances. This will be the big start, though. At early operator, a lot of utility being expended, though, should leave Yuumi without any vision. Has to try and reposition.
Paranoia's being dodged on site. Capricious catches Dana, but her back turned, and Sammy's in the ground as well. The re-swing a little bit much, biting off more than she can chew, and now the Viper's Pit's going to be in play, but the Steel Garden put in. Yuumi's up close, but won't find anything. Full Moon with a headshot delivered. The Pit didn't even have an effect. Haste won't be expected here in the late
That's
round, but with
Viper.
that pit down, now we're in trouble on the site. Ever
Last player standing. Last player
put under that pressure, but delivering his con from that sideline. A third for Xipto. It's a bit of a crazy round with a lot invested, but Ninetails again going to be stopped. That's 3 in a row for the defense.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe the coach had words directly for Capricious, because ever since then she has stepped up, feeling confident in herself. But it was the kill there from Paiti, just running through, taking out the pit, and it still came very close at the end. Haste on the late lurk with a good opportunity. That streak of 5 diminished now to just 2 in the lead. Still a purchase. There is a stinger in the mix. Dana has been struggling, but that's a great shot.
And another from Full Moon. So they go towards the A side here. I can see the Heaven control being taken. They know that Khan's been playing here a lot with the operator now in hand. They can play this one nice and slow. I mean, 1:15 on the clock.
Con shot the decoy as well.
And flank control being contained by the Viper, or the Vice wall rather. Not the Viper wall, it's not going to contain much. I like this idea. Just pump brakes, cover every angle, and know that Xipto are the ones that have to make a move. Being 2 players behind, but well, that clock is running down, and Xipto not showing anything to the attackers. Eventually, the gamble's going to have to be taken.
Yeah, with 2 players in the right place, though.
Watching
Like,
here.
there's not many ways that they could win this, but this is definitely one of them. Flank also about to come in. Flash has been spotted with the spam. Starts to do a little bit of damage. Con's done well, though. Buying some time. Capricious with another. That flank still coming in, but it might be denied by the wall. A push through the smoke would be a gamble, but with 25 seconds, it's patient from Graham's. Already taking down another. This was a 3v5 just moments ago, and Capricious has got one more, still continuing that run of form. Haste had a nice attempt in the last. Is looking for it once again, 70 HP, but doesn't know where that second player is just yet. Capricious has been making that slow move around, looking to group up. Graham's maybe going alone. It's a spam, and it is Haste! A Red Bull clutch to save them. That round almost slipped away, but for her.
Oh, that was a big play. 10-5 for Haste as well. I mean, it's been a good map overall, but that one there was Xipto's foot in the door. Their way back into this half. And maybe even to, you know, keep their economy in play, keep the chances of an even or even a victorious half in play. But Haste just on fire in that play. And it's that fire that keeps Ninetails' brittle heart warm. They came in as the underdogs, a squad that people didn't expect much from. Up against Xipto in the past, it's what, 5 out of 6 maps have gone the way of Xipto. And yet here they are. A probable lead at the half with an eco that they're up against again, though it's going to be an individual with a rifle taking on the pistols. It doesn't go as badly as before. Full Moon down, but nobody there to pick up that rifle with Con in the ground. It's a 4v2. And up against the Sheriffs. They won't let this one slip.
Gonna fall back here.
Also, just gonna go for info. Even a little stun thrown in, just to make it a bit worse for Capricious. No chance in this scenario, and Dana back to feeling confident once again, back to her feet as well. 7-3. The 3-round streak of Xipto coming to an abrupt end after that 1v2. Although they'll have a purchase, they are playing just to get themselves closer to their opponent. They've already lost the first half.
So I'm looking down at the stage every time as well, Tom, and there it is. Yeah, you actually get to see it in the replay. Sammy keeps standing up every time they win around. She's looking across the stage. She's asking them what they're doing, why they're doing it, and what time they want to fly tomorrow. Ninetails 7 on the board. The attack side shaping up really nicely. Is this play to back sight from Sam? Sammy seems to have flown completely under the radar. The dimensional drift got them the position, and now the play into heaven is caught. A big catch by Graham's. That's given Xipto a chance.
Yeah, of course, for Full Moon, she wanted a little bit more than one, but Slight hesitation was enough for a trade. Eva just goes pushing though. Tries to end the round on her own. But it will just be the trade once again. A stun perfectly placed to allow a 1v1 for Dana. She's been winning those. The wraparound comes in again and it's left all onto Yuumi. Now knowing, well, where one of her opponents is, needs to win this fight and does. Maybe able to just get that defuse at least to half. It's going to have to be the move to TP across, but it is quick enough for a 3-3-2. An 8th round onto the board, largely because of her. And a dominant looking half out from Ninetails.
I think it's almost scary when Sammy isn't on her feet after getting that 3K. Just looked locked in. It's such a big catch by Graham. There was no chance for this. If that flank was allowed to complete, you have one or maybe even more kills coming off the back of it. And right there, it felt though at the end like Yuumi had a chance. That TP, if it was faked out, could have seen the round fall apart, fall into the hands of Xipto. Instead, a lead guaranteed by at least 4. Ninetails looking for that little bit extra. Drop down from Dana's good, and Capricious completely caught off guard. No punish from heaven. As Xipto's player sent straight to hell. The wraparound from Dana as well. It's not being watched. It's a freebie. 9-3 at the halftime. They're on their feet again. And Xipto just a few rounds from being sent home.
적군이 플레이.
Well, this game's not over yet, Tom, but how far from over? Well, that's what we're about to find out. 9 on the board for Ninetails. They have looked unbelievable in that first half. As we get into our Coinbase Econ report, no surprise, it's Dana, especially with those last few rounds, who is our highlight.
Yeah, the 16-year-old has been flying high. A lot of openers. There was a little bit in the middle of the map where I was like, okay, maybe this is going to fall apart, and she came right back swinging once again. And I'll be honest, other than just some of the individual diff we've seen, the comp diff looks crazy. Like, they had such easy entries in with that double duelist, and I've not really seen anything in terms of the denial of that pace. It might be a little bit more difficult to run those same sort of executes when it comes to the defensive side, so that might be the hope for Xipto, but I hope they've got some ideas, because in that first half, they kind of got blitzed.
Without a doubt. And I think on that defense, for me at least, that's where Vito's going to bring a lot of the value, and it didn't look like there was much, I mean, especially against this composition. Ninetails often getting past that ability before throwing down Dana's stun, and for Xipto, this pistol, it could be everything. They're starting it towards this A site, where it looks like it will be a pretty passive hold from Ninetails, even when challenged. I just expect Ever to back off. Their game plan on the defense was that there'd be a fight around B or mid. So they're most likely going to have to play that retake.
Opportunity to get into the post bomb, but I really don't mind it. I said it would be difficult to try those executes. Well, they are going to try those executes. They're going to go for a 5v5 retake. Definitely going to be a little bit more difficult with all of the personnel ready and waiting on the other side. Mighty, the first point of contact has been a rough map for her, and it's not getting any better. Slowed as well was Con. Yuumi, though, at least bringing a little bit back, trying to fight this one forward into a 2 versus 2. As she now goes down and getting a little bit more troublesome for that defense. They are desperately low. Graham still going forward. Only one more left to find. Within the smoke she is. And that's the lifeline grasped with both hands. Graham's with a triple to give them a 4th.
Graham's with a much-needed triple indeed. I mean, if that goes the other way, we're already thinking about booking flights, but for Xipto, they've still got a chance in this one. The pistol round is theirs. I expect a big investment coming into the next. And I guess, you know, the thing is, though, for Ninetails, as we've said a couple times, when it comes to double duelists, maybe we expected to do better in this meta than it did in the previous in terms of putting up those attacking rounds. But the reality is, it still has a lot to say on this defense. Xipto, they need to avoid what has been a pretty big part of this series so far, which is those low buys having high impact. And with the investment they've made, a couple of picks for Ninetails will end up having an effect.
Well, yeah, I also want to see if they're going to mirror what they did in the pistol and play a lot of retake because of how strong that double dive is. So I'll be interested. Nice shot already, though. 3-3-2 with the start. With a fairly heavy investment. Guns across the board. Xipto really can't afford too many more casualties, and they're now walking into the stack.
Right into it. The flash has faded already. This is going to be so dangerous with Yuumi dropped so easily. And now, Full Moon strikes from the side! Graham's another big play needed, and nothing will be found. A MasterCard Thrifty! A nail in the coffin and dirt piled on top. Ninetails, that's so much better than winning the pistol. That feels like the beginning of the end of Xipto in Game Changers Championship.
That couldn't have gone any worse. Like, you full invest into 5 guns, and then you lose to what is a Sheriff and some classics, and you give all of those guns over to the other side. That is painful. And while the judge didn't have any impact on one side, I'd almost guarantee it may on this. Look at where Full Moon's currently playing and who's pushing up.
A judge in the smoke. Nasty stuff against the eco. It's just gonna farm. A spray from Hayes to help out, and Full Moon, I thought for a second she was in danger, but very much the danger herself. 11-4 in flawless fashion. And for Xipto, if they go down like this, the memory of today is gonna linger like a tattoo's kiss. This is devastating, and a timeout coming in from the attackers as they know this is their last chance here in Seoul.
I'd say I cancelled my appointment to see this game. Well, I hope, as probably a lot of the people are here, you are a Ninetails fan, because if so, that was a good choice. If you're one of the few Xipto that travel, then maybe it's a bad day for you. 11-4. Operator in, economy, as we already mentioned, through the roof. A hefty lead of 7 rounds, and the chance for an all-Korean team to taste victory at the Game Changers Championship. For someone as young as Dana, that is a dream that many have to wait a long, long time. Doing it at 16 would be incredibly impressive, but it's a young team overall. A lot to look forward to in the future, but potentially a lot to look forward to right now. The team that bested them both times they met in Pacific, looking wounded. The question is, after the pause, do they have enough to get back up? Because as I said, those Xipto tactical pauses have nearly always been followed by a victory. They have to be followed by a victory now, otherwise this game is over.
Even then, there were a couple times followed by a victory and then an immediate resurgence. This has to be the start of something special for Xipto. Ninetails Managed 12 in a row over on Pearl, so it's not like it's impossible. But what we've seen so far, certainly not promising. Rifles for the attackers. Everybody towards this B site. Graham's already making a play! A big play from Graham's! It's giving them the leg up. And it looks like they're gonna sweep the feet out from under Ninetails. A 2 versus 4. Dana running it down, doing damage, but not finding the kill. Haste, though, is quick to convert with Yuumi down. And with Con low, the one thing playing in her favor is that the AWP is in her hand. That one-shot weapon looking up top for a kill. In fact, holding that wraparound up close is Piety, but now tagged desperately low as well. It's left into the hands of Dana, but the AWP finally strikes from the back corner. A close round, though, nonetheless, and we need to see these continue to fall into Xipto's favor.
Yeah, unfortunately, the coach of Xipto can't take a pause every single round, so that was the last, in fact, that he's going to be able to take.
Gone cold.
Unless they can force Ninetails to make one of their own. Of course, the purchase still going to be coming back up. I was looking at the HUD, wondering if it had broken, because we have an almost identical buy once again. They kept the judge, they brought it up once more. Clearly something Full Moon wants to be using, but just happened to be delivered in round number 2.
They've heard the AWP ringing out towards B main. For Xipto, a clear idea to not feed those kills to Sami. And oh, you saw it there. They knew there was a player in the corner. The Gravwell was about to pull Full Moon out, but the judge has repositioned. Sat up close in heaven. And just around the corner, stuck now as Yuumi's completely surrounded, but the jump is very much there for Xipto. Very much there for Yuumi. Expects the second player, but doesn't catch the kill. Haste does really well to convert that, and now they go walking back into the operator! It's a collateral for Sami! Shaking her head, telling them they're not getting onto her site. Graham's the last one alive, and not for long! Ninetails, the underdog, the home crowd favorite, with 7 chances to close out not just this map, but this series, and not just defeat Xipto, a team here at GCC, but a team who have defeated them every step of the way. 2 for 2, best of 3, best of 5, and what a time it would be for history to tell a different story.
Well, the coach is having fun. I love the fact that 332 has just used the dimensional drift. Like, she genuinely doesn't give a damn about that ultimate. We'll throw it in whenever she can, post-round, post-game. Don't know if it's going to come back to haunt her at all, ever. The first, and potentially the last round. Look at the buy that's come up for Xipto, and she's managed to get one more before falling back. Everybody on Ninetails wants a piece of the pie, wants a piece of that first victory. Graham's has spotted, but Bakan hit the shot. The reaction from Full Moon, and the remaining 2 will fall like flies. It is Ninetails to win versus an opponent they struggled before in front of their home fans, and will march on here in Seoul.
A historic victory for Ninetails, for the Korean scene as well, and doing it on that stage in front of all of their fans. It's gotta feel incredible. They came in today up against Xipto. Everybody thought they knew. We'd seen this story before more than once, but a different team stepped down on that stage. What a time to find their true form, and now there's no telling how far they can go.
Yeah, it's going to get tougher from here. There's no doubt about it. There's some heavy hitters in the mix, but the fact is they've already faced their first demon, their regional demon. And we saw it before. Dana was asked the question by Jen of whether or not it will be an all-Pacific final. She said no, even before the tournament began. Maybe some foreshadowing from the youngster, but what an incredible step up they've had from their first day. And now, as you said, like the sky's the limit. When you beat a team that you couldn't before, everything else will feel a little bit easier as you won't have played any of the other teams before. For Xipto, it is heartbreak. It is a tough day, a match I think they know that they definitely could have taken the victory, a match that they fought tooth and nail for, showed resilience in that second. But for a team that was picked up